wellness revolution starts now.
Welcome back. I'm Dr. Steve Hotze. Today we have as our guest Dr. Grube, Blanche Grube from Scranton, Pennsylvania. She's a holistic dentist. She's a dentist that is she does biocompatible dentistry, biomedical dentistry, and she has been discussing with us the original reason that dentists began to use mercury in the teeth, the historical background on that, and really the dangers that mercury have, and why so many dentists in the American Dental Society is still promoting the use of mercury amalgams, maybe to a lesser degree, but it's still promoted out there, and they still attack dentists that challenge the use of mercury amalgams, even though probably over half the dentists, according to Dr. Grube, don't use mercury amalgams any longer. So during our discussion, we were talking about the removal of the mercury amalgams and then how you get the mercury out of your body. So let's return to that discussion, and I want to go back to discussing how you get them. What a person does. Somebody's listening to the program right now, Dr. Grube. Who do they need to see to have their mercury amalgams removed, and what process takes place when that happens?
Well, the first thing they need to do is to look up a good biological dentist. Now, my organization is called the International Academy of Biological Medicine and Dentistry. As you can see from the title, we're medical doctors and physicians and dentists. We have a board certification program that our dentists have to go through. A lot of studying, a lot of testing. They have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they know what they're doing and that they take out mercury fillings the right way. So I would recommend that somebody go to the initials, get ready to write it down, IAB as in boy, D as in David, M as in Michael. IABDM.org, and find a board certified by IABDM biological dentist. There is another organization called IAOMT. That's the International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. They have their own certification program, and you can go on their website and see who do they have listed as somebody who knows what they're doing. So that's the first step, is to have a good examination by somebody who knows the whole procedure from beginning to end. Then when the day comes and you're ready to have your mercury fillings removed, the first question that has to be brought to the table is, what materials will you put in your mouth? Because you can take out mercury fillings, you can take out a whole slew of amalgams. Well, what are you going to do with all those holes in your teeth? And many dentists will say, well, we'll just put in a composite. Oh, here we go again. Now we're right back to sitting in the dental chair and nodding your head and agreeing to whatever it is the dentist says you should have. I mean, that is just the most bizarre thing. That's like going into a French restaurant and you tell the chef, you know what? Why don't you just bring me whatever you think is delicious? But you have an allergy to dairy, a severe allergy to dairy. You're in a French restaurant. Are you going to tell them to just bring over what they think is delicious? You can be pretty sure it's going to be loaded with butter, heavy cream, and all the things that you can't eat. So when you go sit in a dental office and you ask the dentist to put in whatever they think is best, what they think is best has a whole different list of criteria. It depends on what composite they like using. It depends on what's on sale that week. It depends on what they have plenty of in their closet. No, that's not the right way to approach a decision as to what you're going to put into my mouth. So, as you know, I own a company called Biocomp Laboratories. Patients send their serum, that's the clear part of their blood, to our laboratory and we test their serum against dental components. And we have, I think we're up to about 9, at least 9,000, maybe more, dental materials that are tested against those components. They get a report that says, you may have this, you may not have this. This is least reactive and this is highly reactive to your body. Now you can make an intelligent decision as to what kind of composite the dentist is going to put in your mouth. And we not only test for composites, but we test for crowns, we test for inlays on all the things that dentists use in their restaurant of dentistry. So number one, find a good biological dentist. Number two, have a compatibility test done. Find out what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. Not all composites are created equally. You must know that. Some composites are incredibly reactive to the immune system. So that's step number two. Then comes the day when you're ready to have your amalgam fillings removed. You sit in the dental chair, you have this procedure done. It's going to be done either in one visit with conscious sedation, or it's going to be done in 4 or 5 visits without conscious sedation. That's up to you and the dentist and their training. Because if a dentist does conscious sedation, it's another whole licensing and another whole list of extensive training that they have to go through. So that's the next step. Once you've had your mercury fillings removed, you now have this beautiful mouth with white composite fillings. You can't even tell which teeth have fillings and which ones don't. Now what? Now your body will begin to detox on its own. If you wanted to detox faster than on its own, and of course, the body in its infinite wisdom knows exactly how fast you could detox, depending on what it has. Does it have a strong kidney? Does it have a strong bladder? Does it have good lymphatics absorbing crap from the intestines? Excuse me, but that's really what it is. The lymphatics is the sewer system of the body. So do you have good lymphatic flow? Do you have good kidney function? Do you have all these things? Those are the things that will determine how well your body sees mercury, gets it out of there, takes it out through the body into the stool, in the intestines, or through the urine. And the third pathway is mercury comes out of our skin. Aha! Our skin, here, that is the largest organ of elimination. And it's our friend. So if we could help the skin to eliminate more mercury, that would be a wonderful thing. So we highly recommend doing something called dry skin brushing, at least once a week.
What is it called again?
Dry skin brushing.
Okay.
You take a dry brush, no water, nothing on it, and you brush your whole body. You brush your arms from your hands towards your heart. You brush your legs up towards your heart, and when you get to your torso, you brush down. For somebody who's never done this before, when they're done, they will look down on the floor, and it looks like it was snowing. There'll be a circle of white flakes. It's their skin. It's their dead skin on the ground. So that we recommend that you do that at least once a week, and then get into a bathtub with 2 pounds of baking soda. That's the little Arm & Hammer is the most popular brand. Right. 39 cents for a pound of Arm & Hammer baking soda. 2 of those little boxes and a pound of salt. You've just now created the Dead Sea in your tub. You're going to get into that tub and soak for about 15 minutes. If you can, you're not claustrophobic, take a towel. Dunk it in the hot water. Put it over your head. Let your head detoxify also. It's one of the safest and best ways and least expensive way to detoxify. I call that the poor man's sauna. And of course, if you have some more money.
It's with sodium bicarb
and salt.
And salt. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
And how much sodium bicarb, how much salt?
Two boxes, which is 2 pounds of sodium bicarbonate.
Okay.
And 1 whole pound of salt.
In the bathtub.
It's a very salty solution.
And then you stay
So
in,
the mercury will actually come out of your skin.
right, and you stay in it how long?
15 minutes.
50 or 15?
15, 1-5.
Okay.
And then when you're done, you stand up and take a soapy shower. Because at that point, you will have a lot of mercury on your skin. You don't just get out and get dressed. No, 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 no. You take a soapy shower, wash it all off, the whole body.
Mm-hmm.
And I have learned in my many years of teaching detoxification, some people will actually put a teaspoon of mustard powder in the water. I'm not so sure that I like to recommend that, because I'm the kind of person that if 1 teaspoon is good, gee whiz, 2 teaspoons must be better. And when I did my detox bath, I put 2 teaspoons in. And I sat in the tub and I literally saw black ink coming out through my thighs. It was incredible. Scared me. I got up very quickly, took my shower, and unfortunately, because I used 2 teaspoons of mustard, I could not sit in a chair for about a week. My bottom burned. So if you want to be risky and try that, just do the 1 teaspoon. Maybe even start with half a teaspoon. Because it does burn your bottom. Okay? But so then that's the simplest way to help your body to detoxify mercury. Now, I can go on and on and on to different ways of detoxifying, but I just find it, I have to say, I find it amusing when people say, oh, Dr. Grube, I'm going to do a detox this weekend, as if they're going to remove maybe 50, 60, 70% of their mercury. And I laugh about it because I said, every time mercury comes out of a cell, more often than not, that cell wall is destroyed. And once the cell wall is destroyed, that cell has to be replaced by the body. So how can you get rid of 50% of your cells and expect to show up Sunday morning for church? It's just not going to happen. No. I mean, if I was a magician and I had a magic wand, and I was going to take my magic wand and say, dippity, dippity, do. Okay, we've just removed all of the heavy metals, not just mercury, but all of the heavy metals from your body. Do you think that would be a good idea? Most people would say, yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's do that. You ready? Dippity, dippity, do. And there would be this little triangular pile of metal, heavy metals, and the person would be gone. Where are you? You can't survive something like that. So you cannot rush out and do aggressive detoxification. This is what I'm trying to say. People are always looking for the magic pill. There is no magic pill. Now, there are pills. Yes, there are detoxification products that you can take that will tremendously help your body to detoxify. One of them is a product by Dr. Boyd Haley called NMBR. Wait a minute, let me get the letters correct. N as in Nancy, M as in Mary, B as in Blanche, I as in Igloo.
Okay. He invented this product, and those letters stand for a long chemical name. He invented this chemical that can pull mercury not only out of the body, but also out of the brain. Now, before you all get excited and say, whoopee, I want to go get some of this, you have to understand that he also has had all kinds of problems trying to get it FDA approved here in this country. He has it come in as a foreign, what they call it, a foreign drug. He has it come in as a foreign drug, and you might be able to get some of it as a foreign drug, but it's very expensive. So at one end of the spectrum, you have your salt bath. At the other end of the spectrum, you have NMBI that is very expensive. That is like something like $800 a month. In between those two are other products that people have come up with for detoxification.
And so it's another whole field in and of itself. When it comes to detoxification, I really like to pass the patient from me to their local physician who is smart about this. It's usually what we call a functional medicine doctor.
Right.
It has to be a functional medicine doctor, or it has to be a naturopath. It has to be somebody who understands the mercury issue and how difficult it is to detoxify mercury through the body. There's a fellow by the name of Dr. Chris Shade. He owns a company called Quicksilver, and he sells a box called The Box. How's that? It's called The Box, the detox box. And what I like about his product is that he includes binding materials that will bind mercury or other heavy metals once they enter into the intestines. Well, that's very important, because if something enters into the intestines, you don't want it to be reabsorbed and taken back into the liver and then back into the circulation again. So since 80% of the mercury that is detoxified goes through the intestines, very, very important to have a binding agent in the intestines during a detox period. Those binding agents are usually bentonite clay. They're usually charcoal, things like that.
Right.
So his detoxification has that. You always have to have alpha lipoic acid as part of the formula. You also have to have something that's going to support the liver during all of this detoxification. And of course, if somebody says, when you ask the question, and it's a very personal question, you ask, are you regular when it comes to bowel movements? And I'm always amused when patients say, of course I'm regular. I make a bowel movement every third day. Well, that's not regular. You're supposed to be making 2 to 3 bowel movements a day.
Right.
After a meal, you go to the bathroom. After another meal, you go to the bathroom. Having a bowel movement every third or fourth day is something that is incredibly slow. And that's somebody who's very toxic, because while that stuff is staying in their intestines, your body is reabsorbing the toxins.
Right.
And so if you're going to do a detox program, as a matter of fact, I usually won't even take out somebody's amalgams unless we have certified that they are, in fact, very regular and they have no trouble whatsoever. There's no such thing as constipation in their life.
Well, one of the major causes of constipation, folks, is hypothyroidism. Low thyroid is a classical feature.
And where do you get low thyroidism? From mercury.
Mercury can cause that. Sure, there's other causes as well, but that's one of the causes. Fluoride in the water is another cause of hypothyroidism. So,
right.
Autoimmune thyroiditis, which could be caused by the mercury as well, but other disorders can cause people to develop autoimmune thyroiditis, known as Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
Correct.
But anyway, so if you want to have good bowel function, good daily constitutions, you want to make sure that you're eating healthy, but you want to make sure you're getting the proper vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. Particularly magnesium is very helpful, and vitamin C, and then your thyroid, and all that should correct any problem with constipation.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And so if you're constipated, you're not detoxing well, not at all. It's probably one of the most serious problems.
How long does it take to has anybody done studies? How long does it take to detox? Say if somebody's had amalgams in their mouth since their teenage years, and they've had them in 20 years or 30 years. They've got a lot. They've got quite a bit of mercury that they built up in their body. How long does it take? How long does it take? Has anybody done a study on how long it takes to detox and for people?
No, I don't think anybody's done a long-term study like that, because that's what it would take.
Sure.
You would have to look at thousands of people for a period of 20, 30 years. I don't think anybody has done that. When you think about basic chemistry and the half-life of a substance, and then how long half-life means, how long it takes for half of that material to be out of the body. Well, those rules don't follow when it comes to toxins.
Right.
It's not, it's not like when I give a patient, 1 milligram, say, of midazolam, that's a drug that makes them sleepy for the dentistry. I know that in 20 minutes, half of that midazolam is out of their body. They have a half a milligram now. And then in another 20 minutes, they've got a quarter of a milligram. It's half of that. And then we go down to an eighth of a milligram, and it goes on until finally you get to the point where you have a very, very, very small amount of midazolam in their body, and it's not affecting them. But it really does. I mean, it really does take a long time because you're going down to infinity.
And
but it doesn't hold for mercury. Those rules don't hold for mercury. Mercury is not something that half of it leaves your body, that it doesn't have a half-life.
Well, I think
so. Those studies have not been done.
I think from this discussion that we've had today, listeners, you should be warned. Don't put mercury in your fillings in your mouth. That's
the best thing to do.
That's the most important. And if you can get your dentist to do a study with Dr. Grube's lab, which is called what?
Biocomp.
How do you spell that?
BIOCOMP. Biocomp Laboratories in Colorado Springs. You just go on to the website.
Go on the website and take a look at that Biocomp, and they can do some studies to see what dental composition material, what biocompatible material would be good for you. And your dentist then can remove your amalgams and put in that material. And I'd encourage you to do that. I did that 20 or 25 years ago, and my wife did it, and we have several here on our leadership team and on our staff that have done that. So it just makes sense. You don't want to have a toxic substance in your mouth. And mercury is that. So I commend you, doctor, for taking a strong stand and warning people about that. It's so obvious that that you should not put mercury in your mouth. It's so obvious. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank each one of you for joining us for this.
It was a pleasure.
Wonderful discussion, Dr.
Always.
Grube. Thank you so much, and thank each one of you for joining us today. God bless you now.
At Physicians Preference Pharmacy, we understand that the quality of your compounded medications directly affects the way you feel, which is why we believe that your pharmacy should specialize in compounding medications while also delivering extraordinary hospitality and guest service. We believe that both patients and prescribers should accept nothing less than consistency and quality from their compounding pharmacy. This is why we've implemented some of the strictest quality standards in compounding, exceeding standard requirements, achieving PCAB accreditation, which is the Pharmacy Compounding Accreditation Board, an organization that sets the highest standards in compounding pharmacy regarding the safety, cleanliness, and quality of your compounded prescriptions. Because of our commitment to complete health and wellness, we are dedicated to making your medications free of lactose, parabens, artificial sweeteners, and any unnecessary dyes, binders, or fillers present in many other medications, offering you the cleanest products possible.
Information provided on this program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this program is at the listener's discretion.